Ah, Mikey, Mikey,
Yes.
did you know that Bad Bunny
I was
is doing a
yes.
Calvin Klein thing?
Okay, so like we're barely only 2 minutes in, but can I just say, oof,
Right? And that's going to segue us
love the
into.
reps.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna
Let the record
say
show.
all I was gonna say. I was like, representation matters. Also, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, right. And this segs us into Saludos Programas. Welcome. Saludos a todo. Aquí, the Biconics podcast. This is our show where we talk about CMLL and Lucha Libre. I'm Adolfo, and I totally just stole the show from Mikey. I'm gonna give it back to Mikey. Go ahead, Mikey.
Nah, it's all good. Listen, there was a brief moment where my audio did cut out, so I thought, and we're gonna sex our way. I was like, not the show. At least not for another 10 minutes at least. But anyways, so speaking of smexiness, we are about to talk about some smexy lucha libre action here. We're just all over the place tonight. All right, back on track. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Los Lobos de la Lucha, our weekly CMLL review show here on the BC WrestlePod Network Conglomeration Syndicate Twitch dub YouTube thing we do every single day of the week except for Thursdays. I am your host, Mikey. Joining me this evening is my smexy Puerto Rican brother, my hermano, who I'm excited to see in 4 weeks, which is crazy. It's
That's
coming up
right.
very shortly. But
Coming to
Mr.
California, y'all.
Yeah, Adolfo, I'm so happy that you are here.
I'm happy I'm here too. And hey, Agent Lo-Fi, right on
Friend to
time.
friend to the homie to the channel. He is no longer friend. He is homie to the channel now.
That's right.
Just in
That's right. That's
time.
right. That's
He's
right.
watching us and watching the Informa too. So this is gonna be great.
Nice, nice. Yeah, give us the tea if anything good comes up.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
so
But
yeah, so we are here. We're going to be talking about the Viernes Espectacular from the 14th of March, 2025. Mikey, go ahead. Start us off.
absolutely. So, before we kick things off, of course, follow us everywhere on the social medias. We have merchandise. Let's get into the fun stuff now. Because I already said it earlier tonight during NXT review, but follow us anywhere, everywhere at BC WrestlePod. Now, let us begin. Because this was a very fun Viernes Espectacular.
Very fun. Yep.
And for me, it was very nice to see some folks. And some changes have been made, just like the personality of one of the participants in this first match.
Yeah.
I did not recognize Robin at first. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, who is this man in this ring?
Yeah.
And I was
Right.
like, oh, he's more rudo than anything now. I was like, I'm kind of here for the character change.
Yeah, and I feel like he also buffed up a little bit, or bulked up, I
Oh,
should say.
listen, I didn't want to be the first thing because I think more of my wrestlers, but yes.
Yeah.
I was like, hello.
Yeah.
I want him to give me a hug so bad. Anyways, so
Anyway.
we open things up this week with a relampago, so match relampago between,
Hmm.
as I said, Robin and Astral.
Hmm.
I It's been a hot minute since I seen Robin on my screen on Viernes Espectacular. I forgot how agile he is.
Yeah. To be honest, this is. I feel like maybe he's like gone back to like one of the schools and like work some stuff because I don't remember him hitting some of the moves that he hit in this match against Astral. But and yeah, I agree with Agent Lo-Fi. I feel like they both had something to prove in this match because they both brought it. It was great. Now Match Relampagos, they are high energy, just because the nature of the match is you have 10 minutes, and at the end of 10 minutes, it's either win, lose, or draw, right? So these two just went at it. Um, and some of the things that they showed off, there was this beautiful stall into an arm drag that I believe it was. Robin, um, no, Robin held Astral up for like the stall, and then they went into an arm drag, um, which was crazy. Just showed a lot of the strength, not only physical strength, but like the core strength of both the participants. Um, we did, like Mikey said, we saw Roman um, being a rudo. He went after Astral's mask. However, he wasn't like your stereotypical rudo, where a stereotypical rudo is very like just more grounded, and like will rough you up. He I felt that he met Astral with high flying technique after high flying technique. Um, like for example, and also his ring awareness, I should say, was great. Astral did this beautiful moon flip to cover Robin, and Robin got his feet up just in time to give Astral boots to the face. But to close the match, because and I think Astral got the pin with like at like the 8.5 minute mark. But Astral hit this beautiful, I'm calling it a Canadian destroyer. That's what it looked like to me. But it was just like both of them, just like wee boom for the 1 2 3 pin. And we have a triunfo technical with Astral winning our first match.
I would like to thank Adolfo for giving us the play-by-play, because that is more eloquent than what I usually had here. I was just like, men do flying things. Yes.
Yes.
It's really hard for me to take notes during CMLL watchings for me, because I'm so enthralled with the action in the ring that I was like, oh crap, I forgot I got to review this later in the week. No, but as I stated last week when we previewed this, this episode of Viernes Espectacular, I was already excited to see Robin back in here. And Agent Lo-Fi giving us the information that he also puts together independent shows in the United States. So why he is gone for a good chunk of time
Mm.
sometimes, which I did not know, which is great. Also, I
Good to
need, if that is the
know.
case, then
Good
we
to
need to figure out
know.
where in the United States he's putting these
Yes.
shows together.
Yes. Independent, you say. Shows, you say.
Field trip.
Right?
Oh my
Support
god.
independent wrestling, y'all.
Yes. Oh my good. We listen, me, Adolfo, and Will find a way for the three of us to go on a field trip together
Yep.
somewhere, have a little staycation, go to Arena Mexico. It'd be fantastic. But this was a really fun opener. As you mentioned, Adolfo, Astral does pick up the victory here. But this was fantastic opening. So I
Yep.
loved it. It was great.
Yep.
So we move on. Yes,
Very,
ma'am. Gosh.
very interesting match. Lot of fun. Lot of fun watching this match, but this was a very interesting match. Here in this match, we had our technical team of Futuro, Maxstar, and Valiente Jr., who all had the matching ring gear, which was pretty nifty. Not sure if they're officially a trio team or not, but all the ring gear match, so it was pretty cool. Against our Rudo team of Okamura, Yutani, and El Cobarde. El Cobarde, this is the first time I've seen him. I'm not sure, um, Mikey, if you've seen him at all. Uh, like like on NJPW or anything like that. If you recognize
So
him.
I'm gonna be honest, this is my first introduction to, well, outside of Okamura, it's my first real introduction to our other two. But like Agent Lo-Fi says, I have, because I this match made me a big fan of Utani.
Yes. Yeah, he was. Yeah. This was a Relevo Australiano best 2 out of 3 pinfall match, or pinfall submission. Our first our f- so the first pinfall, we start off with Futuro and El Cobarde. Um, in the ring, they were a little bit grounded, but then we switched to Okamura versus Valiante Jr. and then Yutani versus Yutani and Coparte trying to outmuscle Maxstar or no, I'm sorry, trying to outmuscle Maxstar and El Valiente Jr. But El Valiente Jr. and Max Star flip the script on Yutani and El Cobarde, and they end up pinning the two Rudos. So our first pinfall goes to our Technicos. Then um, our second pinfall, the Technicals start strong, doing a lot of the great, things that we have come to know Futuro Maxstar and Valiente Jr. To do. A lot of the flying, a lot of the topes outside of the ring, planchas outside of the ring type thing. Um, Valiente did this really fun, or I should say Valiente Jr. Did this really fun, like hopping on the shoulders of Futuro and then and doing a frog splash. It just looked really cool, and I was very impressed with Valiente Jr. and his hops to be able to literally like box jump onto a man's shoulders and then frog splash off that. It was really cool, but Cobarde, he gets Futuro alone and hits him with a hurricane power bomb for the 1-2-3. So our second fall goes to the Rudos. Finally, in the third, um, the Rudos start off with a literal beatdown of Valiente Jr. Uh, Okamura, Okamura hit Valiente Jr. with these sick backbreakers. Like I still think that Atlantis's backbreakers are the most beautiful that I've seen in my life, but Okamura is a close second. Those things were just gorgeous. Um and I apologize. He hit those on Max Star. My bad. Um I feel like in this fall we got a better look at Yutani. Because he was able to the last two pinfalls Yutani kind of like was in there with Okamura, was in there with Cobarde, but the third pinfall he actually had like a little like a spotlight moment. um but Valiente Jr. turns it around and starts to fly. He clears house. But Okamura and Yutani, they catch Valiente Jr. and Max Star and hit them with a synchronized drivers, very fancy, getting the 1-2-3. So the match goes to our Rudo team. Best 2 out of 3.
Fantastic. And just to highlight, homie to the friend, in terms of El Cobarde, he's worked a lot of GDL in Puebla, and now he's working more Arena Mexico recently. So, I mean,
There
I
we
was
go.
impressed with everyone in here.
Oh, sure.
Also, I had to double take when I was watching this. I was like, "Who is this bald man?" Oh my god, it's Okamura! Like, it was
Right?
such a different. I was just like, but I'm here for it though.
He wasn't in his yellow. He wasn't in his orange. He was in the like all like black and red. He had that face makeup on with the cool like kanji right there. Like it was cool. Yeah, he looked him and Yutani looked really cool.
I need
I definitely like that look.
I need more Utani in my life. I'm not even gonna lie. I want to see more, so now I'm gonna start doing research.
Yeah. Yeah. And really quick, Okamura, how about that dichotomy between the Okamura that we get in CMLL and the Okamura that we get in MLW, right?
It's such an interesting dichotomy for sure.
Right?
But I love both sides of it though.
Oh sure. Oh sure. So it was good. It was good.
It really was. So we move on from this Relevo Australiano match into another. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yes.
Like on paper, I already knew this was going to be fun, but hot damn. Like,
My
this was
boy
great.
Euphoria.
Yeah. So this was a Relevo Australiano de Rudos match, which, pits two Rudo teams against each other. So on one side, we have Barbaro Cavenario, El Terrible, and El Elemental taking on the team of Euphoria, Averno, and Mephisto. So
Los
I was like,
Infernales.
Los Infernales, man. Like, so good. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, whenever Los Infernales are in the ring, it's just get ready for just beatdown because the they are one of the most rudo teams to ever rudo in the business. I feel, and that's probably a big statement coming from un persona nueva watching lucha libre. But yeah, they are rudos through and through, and they love it. Um, so this, unfortunately, this was one of those matches that like I was more focused on the match than my notes. So, but we'll give you the quick breakdown. So the match starts with Elemental and Averno in the ring. Then we go through the cycle where everyone gets in with everyone else. Barbaro Cavernario comes in and he's reminds us that he's not only big, but he's super agile as well. However, once he gets in the ring, the Infernales, that's when they start being the Rudos and just start lumping Barbaro Cavernario up. Um, and Yeah, from that point on, they were just lumping Barbaro Cavernario, El Terrible, and El Elemental up. El Terrible ends up getting pinned by Averno with help from Euphoria, and El Elemental, um, he gets pinned. No, I apologize. El Terrible is pinned by Averno, and then Euphoria hits this wicked power bomb off. I want to say it was the top rope, might have been the second rope, but to me it looked like the top rope on Elemental for the 1 2 3 pin. So your first pinfall goes to the Los Infernales. The second pinfall, El Terrible starts off, and he ends up getting lumped up. And is it me or did we see Euphoria flipping off the crowd when the crowd was booing Los Infernales? Hmm?
It was very interesting. I was like, "Whoa, all right, let's do this."
Right? I wasn't 100% sure if that he meant like because he did the thing where he was scratching his head, but he like was doing this whole situation. So like, who knows? Who knows? But then uh, Team Barbaro Cavernario, they get lumped up for a good portion of the second pinfall, but uh, Team Barbaro Cavernario does come back. El Terrible ends up hitting a submission move on Averno. It was sick looking torture rack. I know I keep saying sick for everything. I'm sorry, but like, the these luchadors, they just, and we've said it before, when they hit some of these submission moves, they look really painful, you know. But yeah, so El Terrible, he said made Everno submit with a torture rack, and El Elemental, he makes Mephisto submit. This is where it got kind of weird. We had an actual emergency at the Arena
I
Mexico.
was gonna say, I was like, "What
Yeah.
is happening?" I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. Yeah. So it's funny because when you watch the show, uh, CMLL, they put all their shows on YouTube, right? And at the beginning of the shows, you actually see the feed that they're giving the audience in the Arena Mexico as well. So like they have this whole like welcome to Arena Mexico if there's an emergency. You look for your closest exit, look for the staff and the emergency gear, blah 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 blah, right? Um and you know, like watching it I thought it was, just kind of cute. It's kind of like, okay, it's Friday night. We're it's time for Versus Spectacular. But yeah, there was an actual emergency. And if someone actually has the 411 on what happened, please, go ahead and put it in the comments below, or hit us up in the chat. But from the research I did, the only thing I found was that on that day, on the 14th of March, that the Mexican government passed a bill outlawing bullfighting, and there was apparently oh, it was a 5.2 earthquake. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. So there was an earthquake as well. I thought that it was
Insane.
the protests, because apparently the protesters for the bullfighting, there were animal rights activists and there were activists for the bullfights, and they got violent with each other. So I thought it was that, but it it was an earthquake. Uh, so, but yeah, so we had a break in the action. When they restarted, we started with the third pinfall, and dear goodness gracious, Team Barbaro cleans house. Um, and from this point, it looks like Team Barbaro is going to win. But Euphoria ends up getting Barbaro Cabenario, who is the captain for Barbaro Cabenario, El Terrible, and Elemental, um, and makes him submit. So we initially think that the match goes to the Rudos, but oh no 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 no. This is lucha libre, so we have to have a little dramatico, if you will. Mephisto comes bouncing in carrying El Elemental's mask, right? And our favorite ref, Guero Noriega, sees the mask. He's like, "Where'd you get that?" And Guero Noriega disqualifies Los Infernales, so that win actually goes to Barbaro Cabenario, El Terrible, and El Elemental. So it was a lot of fun. Even without the whole stoppage because of the earthquake or whatever, it was still a lot of fun. As our promo stuff says, a lot of ups and downs and near falls.
I love this match so much. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like you said, I love that the referees kind of take, their own life into the whole thing as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna wait until the very end. But a lot of these folks that we were been seen on this episode and previous episodes, I was like, LA is about to be invaded by lots of CMLL talent for a certain pay-per-view
Yeah.
show coming up in a couple weeks, which we'll talk about at the end. But
Yeah. Um, and I know we've said this before, but I just have to restate it because I don't think we've said it recently. I love how CMLL allows the refs to kind of have be their own person, and actually makes them not look dumb. You know what I mean? Because like how many times in wrestling have, you know, heels or babyface or whoever like come and do this thing, and we're just like, how, if you're a ref, how the hell did you not see that? But in CMLL, you do have the refs that have dare I say, um, not independence, but I guess, the freedom to do things like that, like, because Guero Noriega, he gave the match to Los Infernales, and then he saw the mask and was like, wait, nope, disqualified, which I thought was great.
100% agreed. This was a fun match, and it led into a series of fun matches for what comes next. So this one's an interesting. So just like we did the previous week, we're gonna break these down section by section because we got 3 Amazonas matches all wrapped up into one, if you will.
Yep. Yep.
So this was basically the second round elimination style tournament to determine which Amazona tag team will go on to face Lady Frost and Taya Valkyrie this Friday on Viernes Espectacular to become the new, tag team champions, which
Yep.
makes me excited. So this was the first matchup, which saw, our girls, the CMLL, Amapola and Princesa Suki, taking on our international girls of Amira Blair, who is known to be tied to Michael Oku, one of my new favorite British wrestlers right now, and her tag team partner of Zoe Lucas. I forgot what the tag team it was called, but I was laughing
I
so hard when I was watching it.
think I got it. Hang on one second. Highlight what Agent Lo-Fi said because I do have to agree with him. Um,
Yeah, everything did felt rushed, and I think because of that
yeah.
stall from the earthquake to make sure everything was good, I think the Amazonas had to rush it, and that definitely was felt in the final matchup.
You're right there,
The
Mikey.
wrestling gods are coming for me.
There we go. No,
I don't know. I've said it. Do this to me.
there we go. So yeah, the Rev Pro team of Zoe Lucas and Amira Blair, known as Pretty Psycho.
There we
Pretty
go. Pretty psycho. Love
Pretty
it.
Psycho. Um, so yeah, we just like last week, we start off with a mini torneo cybernetico, where we had a member of each of the tag team, of each tag team, I should say, uh, face off against each other. And they whoever got tossed out over the top rope first would face whoever got tossed out of over the top rope second. So and then yada yada. And we had Juvia, Princesa Suhui, Dark Silueta, and Zoe Lucas facing off in this mini torneo cybernetico. And God bless, God bless Zoe Lucas, trying to shake people's hands, trying to make friends, then getting lumped up for her for her trouble, because that's what happens. Zoe Lucas gets into the ring with these 3 Amazonas, and she tries to uh, offer peaceful gestures from across the pond, if you will, and in a kind of weird thing, we do see Juvia, Princesa Suhui, and Dark Silhouette team up against Zoe Lucas and lump her up. For her credit, Zoe Lucas was able to fight back, and she was able to toss Princess Hui over the top rope, hitting her with this really. She's got y'all. Don't misconstrue what I'm about to say. I'm talking about like her athleticism. Very flexible because she did that roundhouse kick like and got her leg, Zoe Lucas, I should say, got her leg like not only up but like over the ring to like smack into Princess Wheat, which was very impressive. Um, and then of course, Zoe ends up getting tossed over by Juvia. So that brings us to our first match where we had Princesa Suhui and Amapola versus Pretty Psycho from Rev Pro. Go ahead, Mikey.
Well, again, I thought this was a really fun, I guess if you want to call it first round match. Because so we had these two go at it for a bit, Pretty Psycho versus Amapola and Princesa Suhui. And I'm not gonna lie, this was actually a lot of fun. Again, I agree with Agent Lo-Fi and what they stated earlier that these three matches did feel rushed, especially in the final one, which we'll get to. But bada bing, bada boom, Amira Blair and Zoe Lucas step into the room and they end up winning this match, moving on to the quote unquote finals of the second elimination tournament.
Yep. Yeah, they end up winning by submission too, which was very interesting.
Nope, I'm going to take it the wrong way. Unsub, dislike.
No,
No.
I am shame.
¿Por qué?
¿Por qué? Ay de mí, por favor, no. Qué lástima. Anyway, uh, so then we have our next match, which is Las Infernales, Dark Silueta, and Puerto Rican Power Zoxys versus Las Chicas Indonables, Lluvia and Jarochita. Go ahead, Mikey.
So I think if we're gonna be honest, I think because these are four CMLL Amazonas, this is the typical stuff that we get to see. So,
Yep.
and based on how we've kind of been seeing Juvia and Jarochita over the last couple of weeks and even the last couple of months, I figured they were going to be the ones to make it to the final round to face Pretty Psycho. But damn, did Succeed and Dark Silhouette make it a tough fight too.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah, I agree. Out of the two matches, and this is in no way saying that that the Princesa Suhui Amapola and Pretty Psycho match was not good. It was entertaining, but this was definitely the best match. And I feel that a lot of that has to do with the fact that Juvia La Jarachita have faced off against Zoxys and Dark Silhouette before, not only as tag team, but as singles and as trios. So they know how each other works. Um, they know, and also, you don't have, and this is the first time I've seen Pretty Psycho, a- and I'm still new to Rev Pro, but I'm kind of feeling that Lucha Libre in Mexico is a lot different than Lucha Libre when you see it out. Um,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, yep, definitely. But so I feel that the fact that these Amazonas have worked together and they're in Mexico, that they just knew how to read each other, whereas Pretty Psycho versus Amapola and Princesa Sujuit, um, there was that little bit of a disconnect, where the styles were, you know, a little different. So, but yeah, we get Juvia and La Jarochita coming up on top. Um, I personally think that the Chicas Indonables dominated Las Infernales. I mean, at first, Zeus Season Dark Silhouette came out strong, but then um, ring gear issues aside, I think Juvia and La Jarochita definitely gave it to Zeuxis and Dark Silhouette in that. So, but yeah, Juvia and La Jarochita come out as your winners. And there was no break in between because Zoe and Amira come straight out, and
Oh, wait.
and sneak, and they sneak Juvia and La Jarochita, catching them outside of the ring, hitting hitting a plancha and a moonsault off the ring mat there, hardest part of the ring. But um, all in all, in this final where we had Pretty Psycho versus Juvia and La Jarochita, Juvia and Jarochita come out with the win. So this upcoming Viernes Espectacular, we are going to have Lluvia and La Jarochita versus Taya Valkyrie and Lady Frost for the Campeonato Mundial Femenil de Parejas CMLL, or in English, the Women's World Tag Team Championship.
Well, when you say it like that sounds. Hey, what can we say? We're two brown boys living in America. So,
Right, right.
and it is so great. But yeah, the last match definitely, because the Amira and Zoe just came in. And like I said before, the third match definitely was the one that would definitely hurt from being rushed after,
Yeah,
having to pause because of the
yeah.
earthquake and everything. But it was still a good match, and I'm excited to see our final, which we'll talk about when we preview this upcoming Viernes Espectacular. But overall, Amazona action, so great. Yes, Ancient Lo-Fi, so am I.
Yes.
And we
Yep.
will be previewing that like any good
Oh yeah.
sports related thing when we get to the end of this. But let's get into our main event of this episode of Viernes Espectacular. But before we
Really,
do,
really quick. My final thought on this is I actually would like it if either CMLL or RevPro, if they were able to roll it back and maybe have Pretty Psycho come back so that we can actually see Juvia and La Jarochita versus Pretty Psycho in an actual, in the match that they were actually supposed to have, you know?
yeah, I actually agree. Well, CMLL, I think, at least since we've been watching, have done a very good job of pretty much working with anybody and everyone. They have such a deep relationship with all these different promotions. I would not be surprised.
Yep.
But now, let us get into the main event of Viernes Espectacular, if you want to call it main event. Very interesting matchups here, not even gonna lie. So,
Yeah.
on one side,
Yeah.
we have Místico teaming up with Angel de Oro and Niebla Roja.
Los
We're gonna
Hermanos
talk about,
Chavez.
yep, we're gonna talk about you boys in the preview.
Yep.
Taking on the team,
With
yeah,
Que Monito. With Que Monito.
yep, that's also very important. And on the other side, we had Volador Jr. with Rocky Romero. And to my surprise, given their history with each other, and Mr. Flip Gordon.
Volador Jr. El Hijo and Rocky Romero El Papi.
Oh, yes, he
That was
is.
the
Oh, sorry, it
Yeah.
wasn't meant that way. I'm sorry.
No, it was the shirts they were wearing, and it was because of the other week where Rocky called himself Volador's dad, and they made shirts of it, and I just thought that was hysterical. So yeah, and then Flip Gordon is kind of like your odd man out. Rocky Romero, I will say this every week. Rocky CMLL, Rocky Romero is best Rocky Romero. Get
He,
over it, AEW. Sorry.
well, also Rocky Romero es papi. Anyways,
Yeah.
papi chulo. Ay. Sorry, that was uncomfortable for everybody to hear. But let's get back on track, shall we? Yeah, on paper, I was very surprised. I'm like, doesn't Rocky and Flip kind of hate each other's guts? I'm here for the
Yeah.
drama. This
Yeah.
is telenovela though, so I'm here for it.
Yep. Yep. And also what was interesting is that, for how much they hate each other, they which there was a little bit of that at the beginning of the match because Rocky, or I should say Flip, went to go shake Rocky's hand and Rocky was just like, nope, and like walked away. But they ended up working really well together, which was weird. Oh, and Que Malito was out with these guys too. We
That's the
definitely
important
have to.
bits too.
Yep.
Yes.
Important bits. Important bits. So yeah. Again, not sure if this match uh was shortened because of what happened. Um, if it was, I will say, and I'm probably alone on my island when I say this, but good on you, CMLL, for not only cutting time from the women's, but also cutting time from the men's, because we are so used to on U.S. programming that when stuff has to get cut, who gets cut? The women. So, cutting from both the women's and men, if that's what happened, um, good on you for, being balanced and fair like that. Um, and the reason I said that is that this match it was a relevo australiano, best 2 out of 3 pinfalls, but it only went 2 pinfalls, and both pinfalls went to the Rudo team, Volador Jr., Rocky Romero, and Flip Gordon. Both times, the Hermanos Chavez got pinned by Volador Jr. and Rocky Romero. Um, and yeah, it was um, interesting. It was interesting.
It definitely was, but I still overall enjoyed it. I thought
Oh
this was
yeah.
a really fun match. I love
Oh yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I gotta give props to Volador Jr. and Angel de Oro because they did, and I'm going to say they did this Canadian Destroyer. Volador Jr. delivered a Canadian Destroyer on Angel de Oro. However, when Angel de Oro came off the rope, right, and set Volador Jr. up, like, I don't know what, like, telekinetic powers these gents have, right? But the two of them were able to get ridiculous height and rotation on this Canadian destroyer. I was just like, wow, is Angel de Oro alive still? you know. Um but um but yeah, the match went um 2 falls. It was a lot of fun. We did get to see Que Malito lump up Que Monito. So that was fun. Yeah. You got anything else there, Mikey?
No, I don't really have too much to add. I thought, and I agree with Agent Lo-Fi. I think this felt like a standard Friday main. It was fun enough for the time they had, but
Yeah.
also it does lay with the big show happening this Friday. So
Yeah.
this is good. Be like, hey y'all, we're gonna have a fun show, but get ready because next Friday's about to be bonkers, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Which, speaking of which, let's talk about it now.
Let's talk about it now.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a pretty big show because we've been building up to this in the sense of they've been promoting it for the last couple of weeks for the homenaje a dos leyendas. So I'm excited. Since this is still our first year reviewing CMLL, like everything is like, ooh, oh
You're
my
right.
gosh, it's so
Mhm.
new. I'm so excited. So again, my Spanish is not the greatest, but I've watched enough telenovelas to understand certain things. If I'm correct, isn't these two are the founders of CMLL, or am I losing my mind a little bit?
Yeah, the TLDR, yes.
Okay.
And yeah, and this show is in honor of them.
Okay.
It seemed, and maybe Agent Lo-Fi can tip in on this. Um, oh, this is the second biggest show of the year next to the Aniversario show.
Which we
Wow.
got to watch and it was
Ooh
fire,
boy.
except for the main event. I'm still mad about that.
Yup. Um, yeah, it's kind of seemed like March was the month where they honored all the past luchadors. And Amazonas that throughout the years. So yeah, so this is honoring these two who I believe were found, if not founders, the ones that made CMLL what it is. But let's go over this card because this card is sick.
Oh, absolutely. So This card is I'm so excited. I can't even contain my excitement. But we are going to kick things off with, an opening, trios match, if you want to call it. This is La Fuerza Tapatía versus Las Bestias del Diablo. So this is Star Black Fugas and an Explosivo versus Akuma and Gemelos Diablo Uno
Uno
y
y
Dos.
dos.
So that's going to be fun. Then kicking things off second, our first quote unquote championships match, if you will, por el Campeonato Mundial Femenal de Parejas del CMLL, or the CMLL Women's Tag Team Championships. We have Taya Valkyrie and Lady Frost versus Juvia and La Jarochita. That's also going to be a great
Boy.
match. In what I can only imagine is also going to be a banger, in a match Relampango, we have Templario versus Titan. So,
Yikes.
but yes, in the words of Sheamus, banger after
After bang.
banger after banger. This is going to be so
Yeah.
much fun. Listen, Will is going to have to pick a side with this match. So,
Yup.
poor Will, but it's a fun thing to have. Then in our second championship match, por el Campeonato Mundial de Parejas de CMLL, so the men's tag team champion, Ángel de Oro y Niebla Roja, defending the titles against Volador Jr. y Rocky Romero. I'm excited. This is going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, because we are actually getting luchadors to wrestle in Arena Mexico, we have in the Lucha semifinal in Relevos is a very special CMLL versus AEW bout, in which we have, we have Sky Team, which is Místico and Máscara Dorada, taking on our tag team from AEW and Hologram
Hologram and
and Commander.
Commander. Oh. Wow.
Excuse my
Wow.
French. I may have made myself wet a little bit.
Wow.
I was like, ugh. But then, if that wasn't enough in your main event, we've been building to this for the last month or two. Relevos increíbles con final suicida. La pareja ganadora se enfrentará máscara versus máscara. So this is basically a tag team mask for mask match. So this is Esfinge y El Valiente taking on Star Jr. y Zandokin Jr. I'm not ready for this match. This is about to be
This
fire.
is. Ooh. I have no idea how this one's gonna swing. No
Oof.
idea. And that's one of the reasons why I love what I love about CMLL is you honestly don't know what you're gonna get. You know.
No. Agent
I
Lohi
mean,
coming in with the facts. This will be the Chavez Bros 21st defense of the titles. I'm pretty sure the longest reign for CMLL.
okay, so then who do we think? Let me pop in with these two. Chavez, Hermanos Chavez versus Volador Jr. and Rocky Romero. Who's walking out with the gold? Mikey?
Ooh. I'm gonna go with Hermano. I'm gonna go with the Chavez Bros. I think they're gonna still be champs, but I can make a case. I can make a case for Volador and Rocky to win, but I'm gonna go with our champions in this case.
Okay. And then who do you think is walking out with the women's gold?
Ooh. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's gonna be Jarotita and Juvia, especially since everything that happened with previous tag partners. So, so I think Jarochita and Juvia are going to hold on to those, because unfortunately, as much as I would love it, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go with those two. I would love to see
Yeah.
Taya and Lady Frost with the titles, but because they're in other companies,
Yeah,
but
like it would be cool. I feel it would be cool if Taya and Lady Frost won the women's gold. So I agree with Agent Lo-Fi.
That's
My
also true.
only, my only issue is I don't want. I wasn't happy when I was happy when Willow won the women's title, the CMLL women's title. I wasn't happy that then she like took it and didn't defend it in Mexico. You
As
know,
much.
right? Like if Lady Frost and Taya can come down to Mexico and actually defend um the title in Mexico, I would be fine with them picking up the women's gold. Um, I just don't want to see, kind of like the whole like it's annoying seeing ROH championship being fought for on AEW television. I don't want to see the CMLL championship just being defended on AEW or ROH TV. But I mean, fair. Agent Lo-Fi makes a good point. It is good promotion for the belts, but that's just my own little thing.
And that
So
has been Adolfo's Corner. Him, actually, this has been Adolfo's Island.
that's
No,
right.
regardless, I'm really excited for Fairness Espectacular, and we better make sure Will is better be here. He has no choice.
Yeah.
How dare you skip out on? I'm just kidding, Will. I know why you had to, and I'm so sorry that you're dealing with all of that. But hey, next Wednesday is a different story. The trio will be back next Wednesday to review this special episode of Viernes Espectacular. Oh man, I am so excited. It is great.
Ooh, nice.
People forget
Okay.
that Taya can speak Spanish. Like,
Yes, you can. Yeah. Yeah.
love it. But that is going to be it for Los Lobos de la Lucha, unfortunately, this week. But we will be back next Wednesday, same time, 8 p.m. Pacific, to cover more exciting Lucha Libre action in Arena Mexico. So, from myself, my Puerto Rican brother, Adolfo, and our obligatory gringo of the group, Will Papa Oso, who we love very dearly here, and the rest of the VC Wrestle Pod family. Remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, stay biconic. More importantly than anything, though, you always deserve to finish your story. So we will see you later, but until then, sayonara, adios, and we'll catch you tomorrow.